Cedric, available for babysitting, I understand, reasonable rates. Nigel Owens, 100th European game for him. He was in charge 15 years ago this week. London Irish 56, Piacenza 19. Nick Kennedy didn't play that day. Irish second row Ryan Strodwick and Glenn Delaney. But Nick Kennedy alongside Ugo Monye settling down to what we hope will be a cracker. And Charles Piatow, first job to bring it away for Wasps.
Good afternoon, Nick. Outstanding atmosphere here today, whether you're joining us in the south of France or back in the snow at your nan's house, whether it's Prosecco to champagne or foie gras to pate. I think the one thing we can all agree on, the next 80 minutes is going to be absolute dynamite.
And here is Mr. Pate, or maybe he will be foie gras today. Cooper to the new man, Drew Mitchell. One Wallaby replacing another at fullback. James O'Connor watching on today. He warmed up, he was the last off the pitch, kicking, but he's not involved in this contest.
Let him go! Hughes.
Cooper just moving away to the left. Celino Suter, the captain, gets them going again. Scrum half is Eric Escand. Scored 9 of Toulon's 12 winning points here a week ago.
Interestingly enough, Nick, Wasps actually won the toss and have chosen to go against the wind. So what we're seeing from Toulon, they've got to play with ball in hand a lot more. They can't use the wind to get themselves to full position. They'll do that with tempo.
On the shoulder, play on.
Here goes Cooper. Oh, that's interesting. Long flat to Tuasova. Taking out Nonu and Bastereau. And they've rather steamrolled themselves up to the 10-metre line. Here's Suter again. And I've heard Juan Martin Fernandez lobby in a lot of pain towards the end of that Bath match, having hurt his ribs, and George Smith trying to inflict similar pain. Up quickly in the line, and Cooper this time feels boot to ball is the right option. Piatow trying to ride that wind. Matt Mullen did call correctly, wind blowing from right to left, so the Wasps side will have it at their backs in this first half. Taken in by Mitchell. Cooper again, backpedaling, getting himself in position. Scanned, patient at scrum half. Now they try and put a little bit of pace on it. It was a little cheeky flick of the foot there from Elliot Daly. A little bit fortunate that it didn't connect. On we go. Here goes Mikor Tadze, Georgian, who was all over this plot of land last weekend. Mitchell popping up in midfield. Spectacular try to win the cup at Twickenham against Claremont in May. Here's Juan Smith. 5-star names, whoever's on the ball. And finally, ball was lost forward. Wasps' defence can take a breather and they'll have a scrum, Nick.
Yeah, I think Wasps will be happy with that. Their defence held strong. They chose to keep the ball in play. They were kicking the ball long. I thought they might try and force a line out. Toulon kept running it and running it. They were throwing everything at it, but Wasps' defence held strong around the halfway line. They'll be happy with that first phase of play.
Absolutely. Almost 3 minutes on the clock, and this is our first set piece. Toulon, if they're going to play into the wind and want to keep hold of the ball, they've got to be accurate in everything we do, in everything they do. Nonu just making a little mistake there at the base of the ruck. But regardless of the names on the back of your shirts, this is exactly where the game is won.
That's a fairly major weight difference, 70+ kilos. Normally a little closer than that, so the weight will be with Toulon. Some early issues for that Wasps pack, and Toulon have stolen it. Escand whips it to Cooper, who involves Nonu and Mitchell. Not quite the first time.
That's unlucky there from Toulon. Nonu, he saw the space there, fizzed the ball off his left, tried to get the ball into Drew Mitchell's hands as quick as he can. But Halai just puts him under a little bit of pressure. There was an overlap on the outside, but it comes down to the accuracy. You're going to go through phases, but this is where it all started. The scrum been absolutely disintegrated. Juan Smith comes up with the ball, turns that ball over, and you just see the mistake here. Really good pressing from Frank Halai.
Might understand Drew Mitchell's frustration, but apologies for the language that followed the little spill.
Crouch! Bind! Set! Hold!
First scrum was a test for Wasps. Try and dig the crampons into the side of the mountain with a little bit more urgency here, and they've done that. Still being twisted round, and it needed Thompson to sort it out at the back. Toulon flooding the breakdown, making it as tough as possible for Simpson. Sam Jones, James Haskell ill this week, no time to work on his dodgy shoulder. Gopeth. And we heard Elliot Daly was onside and did well to win that back for Mullen, his captain. An issue last week for Bath at the breakdown. Toulon might cough up a little bit, but they're right old scrappers on the floor.
Yeah, you got Bastareaud, Nonu, Armitage, all excellent at turning ball over on the floor there. We see Bastareaud, the timing, he gets low for a big guy very quickly, and then because he's heavy, he's thick set, he's strong, he's difficult to move once he's over the ball.
Toulon have been beaten here this season. Racing did it in the opening weekend, but in Europe, impenetrable. We all know the top line, we all know they've never lost at home. 16 out of 16 here at the Mail, 19 out of 19 anywhere. And however they change those star names, whether it's Nonu or Gitto, who's not with us today, whoever it is, they fight for the cause. Not the sharpest. Nonu needed to sort that one out.
You go back, Benny!
Here's Armitage. Oh, and he's still going. On his bike, flicked up to Garado. A mission from Eddie Jones' Six Nations squad. Wouldn't have surprised him, but he's already involved here, and he's set up this situation for Havana, who was just smuggled into touch. But all about Stefan Armitage and his red boots.
Oh my goodness, talk about intent. Stefan Armitage was on the bench last week, but how he's come into the game early on. Outstanding over the ball, but what a carry there. Swatted off George Smith. What a statement of intent that was. And then opportunity in the corner for Brian Habana, but you've got to compliment Joe Simpson here. Makes the tackle on Brian Habana. You've got to think that he has every right to get in the corner there. Wonderful last minute there.
Television match official is John Mason. He's having a look at this. Did Joe Simpson do enough? Did he drag the torso into touch? He did. Already decided that it's a line out.
Time on. Good.
Wasps have not hung around with.
Let him go for.
There is Simpson. Well, you know what a scurrying, scampering defender he is. One of the best defensive scrum halves around, and he needed to be there.
He certainly did. What a tale of attack versus defence. Stefan Armitage in all his glory, swatting people off, making breaks, and then Habana one-on-one with Joe Simpson. 5 metres to go. He was at his defensive best. Disappointed not to have been included in Eddie Jones' first EPS, but he's making a fantastic start today.
He's looking for Vermeulen, which they did, and here goes Habana again, running into the man who thwarted him last time. Escand to Cooper. Nonu cutting back in field and still going. Cooper again. It's good work from Bradley Davis. Determined, but still red ball. It's been all red ball so far. Playing against the wind. But that time Piet out, gathering the kick through. Smith, Gopeth. Decides to give it a blast, and ball was lost on, and here goes Bastareaud. Taken on by Frazier. Chili Chava involved as well. Cooper swings it wide, and that's not going to help the transition from pate to foie gras.
No, disappointing there. Toulon are electric normally off turnover. Jimmy Goffer just sees half a gap, tries to get the offload away to the man of the match, James Gaskell, back at the Rico. Bastareaud comes alive, and it's just a little bit of inaccuracy. This is exactly what we're seeing from Toulon. I think Quade Cooper's actually thwarted, just because, I mean, look at this from Steph Armitage, 7 on 7. That's George Smith, 111 caps. Outstanding, he's so powerful, he's so strong. They call him the Crowbar, he doesn't pass much, but why would you when you're making yards of fun there? And this is just a little bit of inaccuracy. Quan Smith gets the ball to Habana, but look at that tackle. Joe Simpson, he's been electric. He's suffered from a little bit of form the last few weeks, hasn't he, Nick?
But I think that might be his team's form, and he's paid the price for it with England's selection. But this season, for me, Joe Simpson's been playing his best rugby, and you know, rightfully so, be very disappointed not to be included with England. That was a great bit of defence to swim off one attacker and move on to the next to save his team conceding a score.
Right now taken in by Sam Jones. He played 10 minutes, and Wasps have worked incredibly hard to keep it at 0-0. Simpson has worked as hard as anyone. I'm hearing that he was the third cab on the rank when Eddie Jones in the end only whistled up 2. There's no question that he is the man behind Danny Kerr and Ben Youngs, should he be needed. Habana, gathered by Tanguy Thakimbao. Christian Wade was on the right wing back in November for Wasps. High watermark of their season so far, that astonishing victory at the Rico, and they're just trying to force Toulon a little bit back towards their own garden fence here. Cooper, Mitchell, Escand, Cooper, hunted down quickly by Elliot Daly, very sharp, up quickly in midfield, and it's forced the turnover to Smith. Taken on by Halai. Club's top try scorer this season, scored one of the tries in Coventry in the autumn. Ed Shervington needed to get down swiftly on the 22, but for the first time in the match, Wasps with a little bit to say for themselves offensively. Gopeth drifting around to the right-hand side now. Here goes Daly. Say exactly what he was trying to do, but Juan Smith snaffled the kick. Girardo. It's been brilliantly won back by Simpson. Stripped the Toulon captain, and now quick ball to Halai. Taken on by Ben Jacobs. He's a 33-year-old Australian, really provides the tungsten rod in midfield, and he straightened things up well there. This is Mullen, Wasps co-captain, skippering today in the absence of Haskell. Again, it's been intercepted on the 22, this time by Habana.
I'll tell you something, Nick, there's one winger in the world you wouldn't want to be in your eye line, that's Brian Habana.
Nonu. Here's another. This is Tuasova. He's being chased by Gaskell. Tuasova with Cooper in support. And a thrilling opening dozen minutes at the Mayo culminates with a score for Toulon.
You talk about defence into attack. Outstanding positioning for Brian Habana, just puts himself in between the first and last defender, and then Toulon 45 seconds later finding a seam, not to Tuasova. This guy's made more metres in the top 14 than anyone else, 769. His timing of his pass to Quade Cooper, a guy who was booed here in the first 20 minutes, sets his Toulon team on absolute fire. What a brilliant first opening 13 minutes to this game.
Tuasova, He went home at the end of a season with Toulon. His parents didn't recognise him. He put on 20 kilograms, but his speed and his power remain the same. He is a hell of an athlete. He's so fast, making yards up the touchline there. Good support from Cooper, who stayed with him the whole way.
I think we sometimes overlook just how difficult it is for players like Quade Cooper to settle into brand new surroundings, new language. And just before he flew out to start his career here, his grandma was poorly, head of the family, and she died just before he made his European debut against Wasps. It takes time, and you have to be aware of the kind of off-field issues sometimes that players like Quade Cooper have to wrestle with. Deserved to be a 7-point score. It's only a 5-point one, but well, the transformation from one form of meat paste to another started at the end of this move.
You're absolutely right, Nick. I think it's good to always give context to these things. The day before he played Wasps up at the Rico was his grandma's funeral. He wasn't able to get there, so you can imagine his headspace there. It's so difficult to be playing at the highest level when your heart and your head's not exactly in it. But what a start he's had. Absolutely outstanding.
Blimey, I'm exhausted. We've only played 15 minutes. How did you survive a season down here, Nick? This is ridiculous.
I think it was slower in those days.
You didn't train much either, did you?
I'm back to the sunlight, okay?
Escon there will be disappointed with hitting the upright. He was fantastic away at Clermont earlier in the season. He scored 17 points. He's got an excellent boot. That's the reason the young nine's in the squad today.
Taken in by Gaskell, picked up by Jacobs. Try coming just at the time when it looked as if Wasps had been rebalancing the ship a little bit. At the end of their best period of play, Smith strikes it up for them. It's gone beyond Daly, picked up by Tanguy Thakimbao. One of Wasps' try scorers against Worcester a week ago in the Premiership. Rather scratchy performance. It's been a rather scratchy time for the club. Looking to find the best of Wasps again, the kind of form that swept Toulon aside in Coventry in November. Simpson under an awful lot of pressure from Chilichava. So much so, looked initially as if Toulon had won it back legally, but not so according to Owens.
That's a really great decision from Nigel Owens there. Although Toulon had the intent to go through the ruck, and Wasps have really got to address that. He says it there, he's gone off his feet. They've piled a load of numbers through that ruck. Wasps are playing this expansive game but need to get numbers to the ruck. Their intent was right, technique was poor, off their feet. Easy penalty for Nigel Owens to give.
I'm not sure Chilichava released either, so Nigel had the choice of two offences there that he could have chosen. Did well to get Joe Simpson going backwards, and there he just stays on him. He doesn't release, he's off his feet. Clear penalty.
Explanation to the Georgian World Cup prop. No Carlo Heyman these days. Martin Castrogiovanni's moved on as well. Blasting one over in the home game, but as the shadows lengthen here at the Mail, the scoreboard stays the same. Nicely done by Smith, captain side in the autumn. Cooper, the try scorer. Escand. Beyond Nonu, into the arms of Bastereau. Two big earth-moving machines in midfield. Cooper can pick one of them. It's the Wallaby again, this time using Vermeulen. Mitchell. this time at first receiver. Thompson was at the base of that, trying to wrestle things away, but in the end offside costs Wasps the penalty.
Yeah, to the side. I don't know which one it was. What do you do? Come to the gate, please, not to the side, taking players out.
Wasps have just got to be a bit careful with this penalty count. Last week Bath came here emotionally, just unbelievable. They went toe-to-toe with them, controlled the game, and just another here, just another bit of inaccuracy, where they're just giving them easy yards, not quite making their tackles and giving away penalties. Penalty count of 16 away from home against the champions. You're gonna pay.
Gaskell amongst those in the line-out, and he was up there challenging with Suter. But Toulon's stand-in captain today got enough on the ball, and Armitage is now fully locked onto it. There he is, taking some shelter from Gerardo, fetching it back for Escand, who offers it back to the muscular men. This might take some stopping. Gaskell in the headgear, doing his best, but bit by bit, stride by stride, metre by metre, this is becoming more and more critical. Suter almost bent in half. And then Bradley Davis goes over the top. And it's reset. Mikkel Tadze. Now the acceleration. Nonu. Tuasova. Oh, he burst through the tackle of Jacobs, but then the penalty against Bastereau. We've played 20 minutes. We've only had one try for all this ferocious activity, but obviously this has been a very decent watch. Cooper's try, the only one so far.
This is incredible. We're talking earlier before the game, weren't we, Nick, that Toulon averaged 22 line-outs in the opposition 22. Wasps, conversely, 2. So you can see where they get that front football. You see why they keep the scoreboard ticking over. But these small inaccuracies are allowing Wasps to stay in the game.
This time it's a Wasps line-out with Shervington. These are the days that you work so hard to be part of, the memory formers, and here's one for him today. Finding Davis. Picked up by Smith. He's got a bucket load of memories. Season here 5 years ago, 30 games. So last season with Lyon before the move to Wasps, taken by Habana. He's looking sharp again. He's looking like the old Brian. And he's, oh my goodness, was taken out by Smith, who got up and claimed to know little about it. Habana's fine, he's on his feet, but Nigel Owens wants to have another look.
Sun in my eyes. We'll have a look. Miss, have a look. Sun is in my eyes. I couldn't see anything. I just saw the collision. No idea what happened. Have a look, please.
Now, was this a top player in full flight, or did George Smith know what he was doing there?
Oh, he's an experienced guy. He doesn't have to move his line, but the one thing which looks poor is that he throws his hands in the air. I actually think he's trying to get out of the way, but the picture just looks poor.
Oh yeah, miss.
I think it looks a lot worse than it is. I think because he was trying to put his hands up.
Is Seven has a clear opportunity not to make that final contact, as far as I'm concerned. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
Yes, and I'm going to yellow card, and it is 7 black for that, yes?
That's correct, yes.
Give me the mark is about here, yes? What? Pardon? Yeah, okay, let me sort this first. Thank you. Come here, please, Sam. Excuse me, are you refereeing or am I? Let me just listen, please. I've had a good look at the screen. I'll tell exactly what happened. You could have avoided a glass contact coming through, and that is a yellow card offence. Thank you.
Never looks great in slow motion, and I'm not sure the TMO should ever look at something in slow motion for something like that, but initially you were wondering as soon as that challenge was made. You're not so sure, Nick, I don't think.
Actually, because he's putting his arm up, it looks like he elbows him, and because of Habana's reaction to hit the deck so quickly, if Habana would have stayed up, you know, it's a different story, he got away with it, but it was almost the timing that he raised his arms to sort of show it's not me, I'm not doing anything wrong, but he's very experienced and he knew what he was doing.
Regardless of whether there was any intent or not, I definitely don't think there was any intent. The picture just looks horrible, and it makes the referee, it allows him to give an easy decision. In that case, it looked horrible, easy decision. Like you mentioned earlier, Nigel Owen's 100th game. Unfortunately, that's a yellow card away from home.
It's cost George Smith 10 minutes in the bin, and it's cost his team 3 points on the scoreboard. Toulon 8, Wasps 0.
Nick, when you come to places like this, you are playing the stands, you are playing the fans as much as you are playing the players against you, and you have to silence them. So far, Wasps haven't been able to do that. They need to get territory, get some points on the board, and get into this game.
Nigel Owen's just making the point to his two touch judges, Leighton Hodges and Wayne Davis, that he's running into the sun at times like this, and he's looking for as much support from them as possible. Taken on by Ben Jacobs. Restart that Toulon didn't take cleanly.
Accidentally offside, unavoidable, scrum down, black ball.
You just talk about the ref having the sun as his eyes. It's a clever kickoff from Wasps, using that sun, putting it up there. No one called it, no one could see the ball.
I tell you what, when you're 50 metres away from your try line, you certainly don't want to see your All Black international trying to catch that on the volley. Of every restart, you need the ball secure. They've gifted Wasps opposition. You can see how difficult it is.
Crouch! Bind! Set! Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it!
Gaskell and Davis helping to release the ball for Simpson, and then Matt Mullen.
Away, Reds, release!
It's Armitage clamping down at the breakdown, and eventually Nigel Owen's patience runs out.
Once I say release, you release. You're all over it, you're not on your feet.
It's just confirmed that they are going to go for the posts, which they are. This the first of two Champions Cup games here on BT Sport today. Off to the Gardens at the end of this. Northampton against Glasgow, 5:15 on BT Sport Europe, and then all the highlights from this fifth round at 7:30 this evening. Lawrence, Brian and Craig in the studio.
A difficult one for the young French loosehead there, Frazier. He's hearing release, but he doesn't know what it means from Nigel, so he just stays on the ball, clamps on it, and thinks the turnover was his.
What's the word for release in French? Laissez? Lâchement? At BT Sport Rugby, all you clever clogs who know. Oh my goodness, how hard Wasps have worked for those 3 points. Much needed. Toulon 8, Wasps 3. Playing without George Smith for the time being, but they've narrowed the gap.
Yeah, really good for them to get on the score, but I'd like to see the next 6 minutes, maybe not to play so much in their half, get rid of the ball, kick long, turn the Toulon back three, wind down the clock, wait till George Smith gets back on the game and relaunch your attack.
Mine from Thompson. First European start of the season for him. Started last season's quarter-final here against Toulon. It's a match where Wasps grew in confidence. It took until the second half before they really started to think they could win it. And they got within punching distance before Ali Williams' late try finished them off. Cooper. Here's Armitage. He's already made one major impression so far this afternoon. Driven forward by Smith. Cooper again. Little drift across to the left, maybe inviting runners on to him. It's Levan Chilichaba.
It's on the market, are you boys?
Sloppy from Toulon. Wasps are actually weathering this yellow card period a lot better than what Toulon are. See Quade Cooper, we talk about joining the club, actually fitting into it. It's difficult if you don't know the language. Just a simple word like switch there would have been all that's needed. And then one error compounded another error. Wasps have got the ball again. They're given opportunities to get back into this game, silence the crowd as we can hear them growing in confidence, silence them, silence their opposition.
David Young, video analyst to the left-hand side. Sorry about the swearing as well that you might have picked up over the din.
Yeah, they're all six. All six of them.
I know this business of constantly apologising for swearing cheeses one or two people off, but I promise you we have to do it, otherwise we're going to get a slap on the wrist from those who run broadcasting back home with you. That's the reason for it. One or two choice words perhaps running through the head of that man as he serves out his 10 minutes.
Hip straight, good. Keep the space, please. Stay there. Crouch.
Tangi Thakinbao into the back row just to add a little bit more balance on their ball. It's not been a thing of beauty so far, that Wasp scrum, but how well Thompson did, sliding downhill to bring it away. Taken on by Jones. Gopeth, nicely done, and Pietau to be carefully monitored by Tuasova there. It was Jacobs with the swift pass in the middle of all that. Here goes Bradley Davies. Indy Gopeth, who was part of Leinster's effort in the semi-finals last year in Marseille. Oh, that's nice. And then Tangi Thakinbao on a ball that was flat, drives up to the 22. He might have hurt himself there. He stays down. He's not well, Tangi Thakinbao, but he's put his side in a decent position. Shervington takes it on. Joe Simpson to Gopeth. Halai come off his wing. Pietau was just to his left. Approaching the half an hour mark, and you can sense Wasps, even a man down, just starting to get more of a grip of this match. That won't help. They lost their grip on the ball.
That certainly won't help. Toulon really struggling in defence there. Wasps winning 4 rucks in a row. That's exactly what they got the ascendancy.
That's gone loose. Shervington on it quickly.
Rock on the cam, no advantage. Lost on black.
And just in case you're concerned about Salossi Tangi Thakinbao, he's back on his feet and looks fine.
Well, that was a high tackle there, wasn't it, for me? That was a big high tackle from Nonu, which was missed by Nigel Owens. That's exactly why he's down. I know the weather's brilliant, and sometimes it goes to your head as a rugby player when you're not used to it, but it's been played almost like a Barbarians game. It's an outstanding in terms of all the names out there, but a little bit of control is certainly needed by both teams.
Little chat in the ear of a back row was into the ear of Juan Smith, just the business of popping up a little bit too soon when you're checking for eager Wasps runners off the back of the scrum, but Smith's told to bind. Posters plastered around town this week, made sure the players had plenty to remind themselves of the defeat in Coventry in November. Revenge has not been a word they've been afraid to throw around this week. Bernard Laporte so furious after that match in November that he told his players to bypass the post-match functions and just get straight back on the bus. The drive of shame back to the airport. This much more competitive.
Set!
by Vermeulen. Debut off the bench against Wasps in that match we were talking about.
No advantage, back row and in across. Back row up the front row and in across.
Again, another player, Dwayne Vermeulen, talking to us this week, Nick, about the difficulties of coming into a new environment, foreign language, settling in, getting used to a training routine that perhaps isn't quite as busy as it might have been back in South Africa, just reacclimatising.
Yeah, it takes time to settle, and a lot of these guys were late because of the World Cup. So it takes them even longer into the season to get used to everything, but they'll definitely be enjoying being behind that scrum. The Toulon scrum very dominant at the moment. Wasps going backwards.
Oof. Now, perhaps they ought to have practiced a little bit more on the line-outs this week. That was not good. Jacobs threads it through nicely. Exactly the kind of position Wasps need a little bit more of.
Yeah, Jocelyn Suter there. He calls the line out, and then he ended up missing the lift. Either everyone else was wrong or he was. I wonder what he'll be saying on Monday morning.
And he's been busy in the week that confirmed that he wouldn't be part of England's Six Nations plans for the winter and spring. Jacobs. There goes Daly. George Smith back with us. Wasps up to a full complement. They dealt with that yellow card period well. Gaskell is hit back by Vermeulen. Smith, hands on the ball again. Gopperth, lots of runners. Jacobs spins it wide to Piatau. A little bit more ball in hand, a little bit more time in the Toulon 22. Not quite. And next Saturday, by the way, we are concentrating on this Pool 5. Final round of matches. And we will be at the Rico for Wasps against Leinster, 2:45, BT Sport 2. And then Bath against Toulon at the Rep, BT Sport Europe, 2:45. Smith has it. Gonna have to go again. There are bodies on the floor. Simpson. Jacobs drifting in, offering himself. Simpson again with Thompson. Hit backwards and sideways by Vermeulen. Still Wasps ball. It's been so much a better 15 minutes for the visitors, and they're pressing here with Piatau. Frank Halai to his left. Piatau, the ball is spat away as Tuasova involved himself as well. And Scan takes the responsibility of box kicking clear.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate from Wasps there, really getting to their faces, but we keep speaking about it all game. It's just those small inaccuracies. Halai steps hard off his left and just loses the ball. And for every time they lose the ball, the crowd start chanting, they start banging their drum and just offer up possession to Toulon, who at the moment ahead on the scoreboard, but they're certainly not comfortable.
That's nicely done with Sam Jones. Pretty much an ever-present this season, doing a lot of work off the bench. Here goes Mullen. End of a week when he was named in Eddie Jones' England squad. Simpson. Well, Goffert did brilliantly to get that ball away. He was being chased by Suter. Net result, Halai very nearly released. And Toulon investing more red bodies into this situation. They think they've won it back. They have won it back. The key, Nick Kennedy, to winning balls in that situation from Toulon's perspective, the decision-making, knowing when and where to really challenge for a ball like that.
Yeah, it's working together. Really good leg tackle there. Opens up Tuasova with the opportunity. Again, we spoke about how strong he is. He stays strong over the ball, resists the clear out, and earns his team a vital turnover.
Would have helped from Konstantin Mikotadze as well. 6-foot lump of muscle and gristle and murderous intent. Final 5 minutes. Craig Cooper's spectacular try. All we've seen try-wise so far. Jacobs moves in field, but it's still with the forwards for the time being. Smith rolling off the challenge of the other Smith. Thompson. Chittadini to Simpson. Finds Gaskell.
Lost now! Leave it now, you're off the feet, good.
Jones coming to operate for the time being without Ben Jacobs in Wasps midfield. He's getting some treatment down below us, and his midfield partner Daly loses it. Spending a lot of time in this area of the pitch without necessarily adding to the scoreboard at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, that's going to be a massive blow. Ben Jacobs, he's the domestique in their back line. He's the one who steals those inches, gets them on their front foot as their defensive captain as well. So he'll be crucial to staying on the pitch. But you're spot on, Nick. They've chose to go with the wind to get that position, to get that territory, and that's exactly what they're doing. But what they're doing with that ball in territory isn't much. They're building through phase, but there's small inaccuracies here. As we see, I mean, their shape's actually really good. They try and find an edge, but it's just about keeping hold of the ball. And at the minute, those unforced errors really seem to be hurting them.
Game for Nigel today. Do you remember that London Irish Piacenza match? Were you around there? A shake of the head from Nick Kennedy, lying to us.
Trying to make out he's younger than what he is.
Exactly.
Were you 37?
Did you play with Glenn Delaney in that Irish second row, or were you...
Never with him, no. Glenn was on the bench while I was starting.
Now, what of Ben Jacobs? Oh, that isn't a good sign. Andrea Mazzi, Alapati Leu are also both missing. They can ill afford to lose Ben Jacobs. It's an earlier than expected entrance for Rob Miller. And what are they doing? They're moving Tangi Thakin-Bow into midfield and Miller onto the right wing.
I'll tell you what, they won't lack for physicality. Solosi's about 110 kgs, incredibly powerful going forward. Defensively, up against one of the most experienced 12s in world rugby, Mark Nonu, who's going to have to be at his very best. But these are the things you work in training for, just in case someone goes down. So he'll be well versed, and no doubt he'll have a massive impact.
Bind. Set.
Brian Smith actually moved Slossie Tani-Thakin-Bow to 12 for a while at London Irish about 4 seasons ago, but because he's never passed the ball in his career, it got to the point where 3 guys were just tackling him every time, and he'd still actually make some ground because he is such an effective ball carrier. So he has played there before. This isn't completely out of his depth for the winger.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
No, oh, that's an interesting one, and Halai was very interested, but in the end it was rescued under some pressure by Tuasova. 90 seconds left of this first 40. Cooper. Freddie Michelin amongst the added extras that Bernard Laporte has at his disposal. This is Pietau, enjoying his season-long stop-off with Wasps. Gaskell. Tanguy Thakinbao, he does pass it to Smith. Oh, how about that from Smith? And then Thompson, all perhaps a little bit elaborate, and it's gone forward.
I'm repeating myself again, aren't I, Nick? They do so well just to work into the midfield. They see the space. Solossi actually sees the space. His accuracy of his pass isn't quite good enough.
What about that hit from Piatau? Is that Cooper that he's marmalised? He blew him away, but both players back on their feet. They're scanned. Guillaume Guirado, French captain, heading into the Six Nations. Guy Novas is new man in charge. That ball's gone loose, and Henry Davis was trying to get onto it, but there was a strong arm across his chest to make sure he couldn't. Halai and Piatau together, two old school friends from back in New Zealand, and here goes Piatau, and he gives it back to his old schoolmate, who gets ushered into touch by Levan Chilichava, and that will do for the first 40 minutes here at the Stade Felix Mayol. Goodness me, that has been breathless. Quade Cooper's try, no question, the highlight. But then the story in the final 15-20 minutes, one of a Wasps. He's been on his toes, he's been eager, he's been testing that Wasps defence, which has been good. And they've got Solossi Tanguy Thakinbao operating in midfield because of that change we talked about, Ugo.
Yeah, and I think that is actually going to suit how Wasps play. They're going to have to play the second half. They're playing into a headwind as we see Jimmy Goff about to kick off. Wasps are going to go out and win this match.
It's referee Nigel Owens, and the players won't have to worry about the sunshine. We are now in shadow here at the Stade Felix Mayol. Stefan Armitage, he was one of the standout players in that first half. Taken by Piatau. Champions Cup try in Dublin at the start of this campaign. That's been lost forward. One of the features of the first 40, and we were talking about it at half-time, Nick, there was a lot going on without necessarily being that much memorable going on, but the battle at the breakdown was just ferocious.
It was, yeah. Wasps couldn't seem to get the ball through enough phases because of silly handling errors like we've just seen. It's almost like they're trying too hard, they're trying to force things a little bit too much. They need to relax. As Ugo pointed out now, they're going into the win, they're going to have to play more rugby. Their handling is going to need to be better if they're going to put pressure on Toulon.
This an area that Toulon definitely bossed in the first half. Ball being controlled by Dwayne Vermeulen, and the scrum half is scanned involving Cooper and then Bastareaud, and now Martin Nonu. It was an important tackle, and Miller was on him quickly.
That was an outstanding tackle from Rob Miller. Martin Nonu just trying to get on the outside, linking up with Brian Habana. That is a deadly duo when they get together.
That was beautifully done. Tuasova on the drift as he took the ball to Juan Smith, and now the drive for the line from Guirado. So much to admire in a very short space of time and within no more than 5 metres. Escand, Drew Mitchell popping up. Now here goes Nonu. Mitchell's waiting, on his toes, kicks it through. Armitage very nearly got onto it, but it ricocheted back into the arms of the Springbok Dwayne Vermeulen. And the ball was lost forward, but just the little drift away from Tuasova to create the space that started to create a little bit of mayhem.
Well, this is exactly what Toulon possess. They haven't been clinical that first half. We've spoken about the unforced errors, but individually they just have that X-factor ability to be able to break teams down. We saw it to Tuasova just then. Juan Smith, his strength, his power, his offloading ability, just outstanding. Ball here from Quade Cooper, it just fades away on that pass, and then Juan Smith, how about this for power and awareness. Lovely little offload out the back there, and that gave Toulon all the territory and position that they needed. Unable to capitalise once again, though. The story of the game.
I really like the way Nigel Owens is refereeing the scrum. Toulon are clearly dominant, and there's a couple of offences in there with Wasps going backwards, but if the ball's there to be played, he wants the ball out. He wants to see a good game of rugby. lots of other referees would just blow up penalty. Toulon would either kick to the corner or for the post, so he's making this game more exciting with his refereeing.
Frank Halai, who was down, is back on his feet. So now Guy Thompson, super size shirt for him to fill today. No Nathan Hughes, and all that you leave behind when Nathan Hughes isn't part of your team.
Oh, he's one of the in-form forwards in Europe, you know. What he brings to this Wasps team is what he'd bring to any team. He's incredible. Second in terms of most carries in Europe, second in offloads, and second in terms of assists. He's a huge loss, but Guy Thompson is having a brilliant first 40 minutes. He's going to have to need more of the same.
Once again, a seething mass of red humanity. But, seething illegally. Penalty going against Levan Chilichaba, Guillaume Garrado, the hooker. A bit of work from Florian Frazier as well.
You can see Frazier just coming round the corner there, and then the back five follow him round. They needed to stay square. See, it was a good initial hit. Toulon outweigh them by nearly 70 kilograms, and they just chase it round. They don't need to. They don't need to cheat there. They can stay straight. They've got Wasps at scrum time.
It's an extraordinary weight differential. We touched on it at the top. 70 kilos, the difference between the two packs. It will help explain a little bit as to why Toulon are so dominant, and then Cooper not quite able to get onto that.
7 from 9.
It's, George Smith, who was offside.
That's poor drills from Wasps. You'd have worked all week on your set piece moves. You managed to win yourself a penalty from the line, and you make your way to halfway, and then a little bit of accuracy, a little bit of lack of communication, as we just see here. Great off the top ball, and what a good opportunity to put Toulon on their back foot. Instead, Quay Cooper kicks the ball 40 metres, and Wasps find themselves defending once again.
And instructed to see, as soon as Cooper launched that into touch with good distance, Bastereau and Nonu on him quickly. Pat on the back, shake of the hand.
Toulon have gone to a 6+1. This is a drive coming up using that extra weight.
Suter to Armitage. Drifting infield. There's a handy blind side to the left should they need it. At the moment, they're just driving down the middle. Gaskell coming in, trying to mess things up, but this is Garrado. Escand. Frazier, 24 today, one of the club's homegrown nuggets, involved in this latest thrust towards the Wasps try line. The one score so far from Cooper, who half thought about the drop goal there, and then went in search of a second try. Escand. Nonu waiting. It won't be Nonu just yet, though. It'll be the Georgian Chilichaba. Drew Mitchell also centre field in the shiny white boots. He might have something to say before too long. Juan Smith. Escan. Now the drop goal from Cooper. Wide.
Really good discipline from Wasps in defence there. They're just one-man tackles. No one was contesting the rucks, so Toulon had no space. Quay Cooper looked up, nowhere to go. He got in the pocket for a drop goal, and they tried it again. Wasps keeping that wall.
It's just good hustling from Jimmy Gotteth. He was on Cooper very quickly, his opposite number.
Yeah, I think Quay Cooper sitting in the pocket, taking that drop goal. You've got to commend how well Wasps are defending. At home, Toulon have scored 52 tries this season. They're not scared of that. But to take that option, it just shows you how well they are defending and how poor Toulon are attacking.
Mitchell with the ride over halfway. Garrado finding Suter. Some help from Tuasova. To Juan Smith, running into George Smith. Wasps have managed to scrape that back, but then on the floor, Bastereau for Toulon. Frazier, Nonu, Armitage, Habana to the left. This is dangerous. Oh, it's been intercepted. And Piatau runs away, and Nigel Owens says, oh my gosh, he's got a bit of running to do, and so has that Toulon defence. And Toulon can breathe a sigh of relief, and so can the Welsh ref.
Oh my goodness. I mean, there's serious intensity and pace to this game. But the turnovers is what's making it exciting at the minute. Toulon attack. You think Nonu gets his hands on the ball, timing of the ball, brilliant here. Stefan Armitage 2v1, but how about this for experience of Pietau? He then manages to get himself up the pitch, but this is brilliant. You're thinking a try, all for the money. And that's a decisive moment there. He gets it wrong. It's a try under the sticks of Drew Mitchell. He turns the ball into attack, offload to Elliot Daly, tries to get the ball away once again. And Wasps, just a small bit of an accuracy, they can't keep hold of the ball. No one really wants to put a foothold in this game. It's so open at the minute.
It's gone there, not on with you boys. There's the mark. That's yours, okay?
So as it stands, with Toulon leading this one, going into the final round of matches next weekend. Toulon at Bath, Wasps at Larico against Leinster. And at the moment, Toulon would be in charge. How hard they've worked since that defeat at Larico in November. The character that they've shown to come together to create what is at the moment a winning lead heading into the final round of pool matches. Cooper with Nonu running off him. Tackle was made by Goffert, and Wasps have won it back. Oh, and now a scan goes away, and Juan Smith was up in support. Armitage to his left. Smith curved away to the right, but this centre field on the 22. Once more, Toulon and their Galacticos are pressing the doorbell. Nonu to Bastereau. Oh, and he's lost it forward, but it was stolen by Black, so on we go. Escand, Mitchell. Suter, the captain today for Toulon, in the absence of Juan Martin Fernandez. Vermeulen with the rollout work, the stretch from Cooper, and then the kick from Cooper, and the ricochet off the Wasps' boot, and another opportunity goes down the plug hole.
It's been relentless from Toulon, getting themselves into position. Suter, who really tidies up Quay Cooper's work here. The man who, once they get on the ball, you just think, just sit on it, get through some phases, but it seems to be one turnover after another. Juan Smith, once again, just so influential, but no one can actually get a set of phases together to make an impression on the scoreboard.
It's been such hard work from both sides. Toulon, actually, players given an extra day off this week because of the hard work against Bath last weekend, but it was instructive to see so many of them still in training up the road on Tuesday, doing extra work, old-fashioned virtues. Lee Halfpenny amongst a pretty decent list of those who aren't fit at the moment, taken by Suter. Now Bastereau, a threshing machine, so close to the line, determination, being held by Chilichava. Shrill Wasps alarm bells right now. Wasps defence, which will have been drilled this week by Brad Davis, as always, is entering medal-winning territory right now.
It is, yeah. Bastereau running full tilt. If you can't stop him, try and hold him up. It's a nice little work move from Toulon there. They went to the 6+1. Wasps were expecting a drive, and they hit Bastereau up. Look at that leg drive as he keeps going. 1, 2, 3, 4 Wasp players in. Slossie Fakabau using his weight and power to stop him. Again, top defence by Wasps.
Well, the new man is Manasseh Saulo. The tight head prop. Anthony Etriard is on as well, and Xavier Shockey. So a scrum that has been dominant so far has 6 fresh lungs in the front row. Fressier, Gerardo and Chilichava making way for Etriard, Shockey and Saulo on his debut, the Fijian. No time to hang around here. Wasps have got to get this away quickly. They've been concertinas backwards, but once again, Guy Thompson
not tell.
stepping out of the back of the van and doing so well.
Back.
He's done outstanding work.
Stay. Okay.
Right up to the edge of the 22-metre line, and Simpson clears, and that is brilliant work from a Wasp scrum that was under a little bit of pressure on their own try line.
We speak about missing Hughes there. Thompson, superb at the base. His team are getting marched backwards. Good hands to pick it up while you've got 5 guys coming back towards you, and then the yards that he made. Excellent carry. You see that Nonu can't stop him. He just keeps going and going. Stefan gets in there. Great carry from Thompson.
Toulon have just made 3 changes. They're about to make 3 more. 1 more in the pack. Thibaut Lassalle is on, and they're changing their halfback. So we're saying farewell to Quade Cooper and Eric Escand. And joining us, Sebastian Tillous-Board and Freddie Michalak, who was a circus master, helped turn the game when he came on at half-time a week ago. Just getting himself back into the idea of playing rugby after the injury in that World Cup quarter-final against New Zealand. It's been a very good 60 seconds for Wasps, right up to that point. And we'll come back for the Toulon knock-on in the line-out, Wasp scrum.
It's the 3rd scrappy line-out from Toulon there. Tough throw for a new hooker to come on and hit it. Thinking about what's gone on previously with a couple of overthrows, a miss. Just play the safe ball. Lassalle's on, the ex-Ironow player. Excellent at line-out time and at restarts. Toulon maybe should have just looked to hit him at the front and play it safe.
He's 6'8", Lassalle, and his European debut last Sunday. He's locked himself into the 2nd row. Just see the extra power injected through the shoulders of that Wasp front row. Not the most popular decision of the day. Number 17, Xavier Shockey.
Shockey just on there, not staying square. He doesn't need to cheat there, he doesn't need to take the angle. The weight, the power they've got whilst marching backwards there on skates there. He just needs to stay straight, keep his hips in, keep it square.
Time out, he's not kicking tee.
Just a little delay on the kicking tee is brought on. A couple of games this weekend. Today, this is the first of them. Off to the Garden shortly. 5:15, BT Sport Europe for Northampton against Glasgow in Pool 3. And then, if you've missed anything, all of it wrapped up with Lowell, Brian and Craig, 7:30 this evening.
Just watching it again, I think that was a very harsh penalty. Shockey was square and they were going backwards, only turned at the last minute. And by then, he had George Smith coming up into his ribs. A harsh penalty.
I reckon that over 500 Wasps fans have made the trip down here to the Med. All of them colourfully dressed. Splashes of black and gold. Harbourside to our right last night. All of them willing this over off the tower block of a kicking tee. And he's had a couple now, Elliot Daly, and he's not got either of them quite right just yet. Taken by Miller. Joined us in the first half after the injury to Ben Jacobs. Simpson, nicely done by Jones, gathered and went quickly. Gopeth. Shervington slipping into the tackle. As Davis has beaten Toulon in Europe. Scored a try for the Cardiff Blues in the 2010 Challenge Cup final. Once again, Thompson getting through a shed load of work. Juan Smith trying to strip it back, but it wasn't to be stripped, and George Smith linking up with Gopeth, and this is Tangi Thakimbao.
It's a lot better from Wasps. Getting through their phases, they just need to generate a bit of quick ball. The ruck's in the centre of the field. Toulon can't quite get the line speed that they need.
Simpson, Smith, got it away under lots of pressure. Gopperth, Jones swings it wide, finds its way to Miller. Time for Toulon's defence, drilled by Steve Meehan, to have a look at itself. Well, that was solid. That was more than solid. We heard the thud from up here. And Toulouse board to Michalak. It'll come back at them via Piatau. Piatau chasing this. Michalak. Mitchell. Oh, he bamboozled Miller there. Drew Mitchell continues to chase the ball that's now gone beyond his reach, because this is Gopperth, although he's coming back towards him. Simpson with Smith on him.
He can't move when you're holding him. We're going to go for a scrum, you're untidy play, you possession, you a ball.
Have I had one or too many espressos this morning, or is this the most ridiculous match you've seen in a long time?
It's unbelievable. It lacks a bit of quality, I've got to say, which is almost an outrageous statement considering the amount of international, the heart, the desire, the intensity, the pace is there, the skill level's not quite. Toulon unloading their bench, Wasps now bringing Ashley Johnson, and what they'll get from this man is a busy man. His ball carry stats last year were a lot more impressive than what they are this year, but he's moved forward up the pack into that hook and roll. Set piece has got to be his priority, but any thrust he can add in attack, in defence, is certainly going to be welcome with 24 minutes to go.
Ed Shervington adding his name to the list of spent front rowers this afternoon. Adding his list to names of Frezi, Gerardo and Chilachaba, who made way a few minutes ago.
Stay straight, drive square. Or straight to him. Middle line. Crouch. Time on. Bind. Set.
Once again, having to operate on a slippery mountainside, but somehow Wasps and Guy Thompson are holding on and keeping possession, and more than that, that's really nicely done. Daly flicking his way through. End of a week of all weeks for him. Wednesday morning phone call from Eddie Jones, and now Johnson involved immediately. Gopperth flings it wide to Davies, who comes back in field to try and tie up a few defenders. He takes his hit. There goes Halai. Thompson once more. Now Johnson. Armitage over the top. Bit of work from Shockey as well. And Etriard thought he was within his rights, but he had to give it up. Jones. Simpson. Tanguy Thakimbau. George Smith. He's not quite committing enough numbers to the breakdown to make it quick ball at the moment.
That's exactly what they need at the minute. Toulon are so physical, as you can see there. Their lines, but they're battering, they're repelling every attack from Wasps. Wasps need to get a couple of quick rucks in a row. Try and use the likes of Piatau, not in this style, but out in those wider channels if they are to penetrate.
Vermeulen, the latest to try and go over the top and win it back, and now it has been won back. It was Michalak who got his mitts on the ball, but it's won back by Wasps. Now perhaps this is the opportunity. Tanguy Thakimbau. Goodness me, this is draining stuff. And again, look at Armitage and co over the ball. LaSalle was there. And in the end, there was just too much Toulon concrete to have to chip away for Wasps.
Certainly was. If you come to the Mayo and try and take on Toulon in an arm wrestle, there's only going to be one winner. That man there in your screen, Stefan Armitage. Imperius once again at the breakdown. Toulon so patient, not being able to give away a single penalty in about 2 minutes of defence. Ends up Stefan Armitage penalty and a massive sigh of relief.
Yes. They managed to keep that in play. They have. That's wonderful work from Daly. And the hard work starts again, just outside their own 22. Toulon penalty.
What's the tackler? What is speaking on the ball?
Pietau's injured in the process. And the work of Armitage. It's 5 years now since his last England cap. That debate that goes on and on, but he's at it again, turnover-wise in the top 14. As we have another look at the great work of Elliot Daly, he's top of the list. Still nobody in the French league doing it better than Stephen Armitage.
Yeah, there's not many people in Europe who are doing it better than him. He's incredible. England looking for an out-and-out 7. He is here. He can't play for England, and that's his decision. And Eddie Jones has picked his squad. He's not in it. But I tell you what, England's loss is certainly Toulon's gain.
Well, this is setting us up very sweetly for next weekend's final round of matches in Pool 5, and we'll have both of them here on BT Sport at the Rico and at the Rec, kicking off simultaneously at 2:45. Wasps against Leicester on BT Sport Europe 2, and then once Leinster and Wasps have done their stuff, Bath and Toulon on the other channel, BT Sport Europe, simultaneously 2:45. And this is how it looks at the moment, table-wise.
I think so.
Toulon with their noses ahead, courtesy of what they're doing here at the Mayol right now. So they, as they head to the Rec next weekend, will have the advantage as Wasps take on Leinster at the same time. It's just Tuasova. Interesting to see whether Toulon release him for the Olympics and the sevens. Fiji would love to have him. What an Olympic star Tuasova would be.
I mean, the guy's an outrageous talent. His stats are just quite incredible. The amount of defenders that he beats, the metres he makes on a 15s pitch. Imagine what he could do on a 7s pitch. I'm sure, I mean, Toulon's a wonderful place. Stade Mayol's a wonderful place to play. But I wouldn't mind a couple of weeks on the Copacabana beach in the summer.
His try-scoring exploits in the top 14, and he and Armitage lead the way for this club at the moment with 6. He's yet to score one in Europe. Continuing concern for Charles Pietau.
Oh, you take your time. It's more important than time.
Harry Mackenzie.
No rush at all. Safety first.
Once we're done here, we will be at the Gardens. Saints arriving, 5:15 kickoff. BT Sport Europe up against the Warriors. Can Saints build on their win in Glasgow before Christmas? That match to come from Pool 3 here on BT Sport once we're done down by the Med here in Toulon. Good news, Charles Pietau back with us.
Okay, time on. Minute starts now. Okay.
That was a rather soggy baguette of a kick, and it never looked like going over the posts.
It's his second game for Toulon in about 5-6 months. He's not even fully fit, but he had an outstanding game last week coming off the bench. Massively influential, but he'll be disappointed of that. Kwaku got called pate in the week. I'm not quite sure what that was.
It's more spam than pate, that, I think.
There's Mitchell, Dylan Armitage and Lee Halfpenny amongst those injured. So Mitchell at 15 today. James O'Connor a bang to the head last week. That ball's been kicked loose, and Johnson kicked it on into an area of some danger, and he carries on chasing it, and Tuasova comes across and has to act as an emergency defender there. And Wasps will have the line out.
You've got to see the body language of the opposition at the minute. Wasps are really tight. Jimmy Gofford absolutely wants to be on the front foot. Toulon are all at sea. Their reactions just aren't good enough at this point. Michelin missing that kick. That would have been the first time Toulon got some genuine breathing space Now is Toulon with the possession on the 22. They need to make it count.
Tuasova kicking the ball directly into touch, and it's won by Gaskell. Here by the discontent amongst the 15,000 here at the Mail. Just what good work Wasps are doing at the moment, and Simpson continues to look for that. Now here's Daly. What's on his mind? Feeds Miller. He's got a lot of red shirts around him, so the kick was really the only option. But we were playing advantage.
23 there, did from the side and taken down.
Penalty against Thibaut Lassalle.
Yeah, 23 red there, just entered illegally from the side and also pulled it down.
From the side and taken down.
The referee had already spoken to his linesman in the first half about keeping an eye on the Reds pulling it down. They're okay to pull it down straight away if there's one of them, but Wasps were well set there. It was a well set drive. They had good length, good width on it, and Toulon had to stop it illegally.
That's what was on Daly's mind there, but work harder. They had a little bit of a conversation, I think, about whether to kick for the corner and go for the line-out drive, but in the end the decision is to try and pocket the 3 points to double what they have. He's kicking beautifully this season. He's operating at over 90% off the tee. In Europe now, 10 out of 10. Look at the scoreboard. Wasps within 2.
I think sometimes forwards can get carried away. If you have one good drive, it affects your decision-making, and they want it in the corner. Good work there, just for the 10 to step in. Jimmy Gupperth say, no, we need the 3 points here. There's plenty of time.
There's the restart going into the arms of Etriard. Davis had got up high, but it's Toulon's to restart working with Martin Nonu. The recruit has been disappointing so far, in the words of Murad Boujalal. Looking for energy today. Here's Etriard again, new arrival this season, still just 22. Lots of bright young forwards coming through in this Toulon team. Etriard, one of them. Here goes Nonu. Matt Gitto, we're hearing this week, out for 3 months. He's a big miss from this team when he's not in it. Tilly's board. Vermeulen. Ball lost forward. Wasp scrum.
Tell you what, Nigel Evans, he's allowing Wasps to really mess up Toulon's ball. Well, Toulon, first of all, have got to deal with the threat, but he's allowing them just to be on that line, just to force the errors from Toulon. They'll be so happy with that set. Where you're often most likely to give away points is just after you've scored, and they've weathered that storm, closed the gap to 2, and now they've got a scrum. They're back in control of the ball.
A couple of changes I've seen. Simon McIntyre and Kiernan Mile, front row, second row. Matt Mullen, the skipper, about to make way, and James Gaskell as well. It's McIntyre, regularly launched off the bench over the last year or so. Mile trying to score it in the Premiership win against Worcester last weekend. A big decision to take off the skipper, Matt Mullen, but you can see just how hard he's having to have worked in that opening 63-64 minutes.
Well, Nick, you know, from doing fitness tests of Matt Mullen, how fit he is. The guy, 43 tackles, he's top tackler in European rugby, hasn't missed a single one. Guys like him going into the last quarter, absolutely key. Set piece, crucial, but his work rate around the pitch is exceptional too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's so tiring scrumming this massive Toulon pack all day. It really saps your legs. You can do less around the pitch, but a guy like Matt Mullen, because of his high fitness levels, he can do both.
Yeah, Matt Mullen is making room for Simon McIntyre. Meantime, there's still a little bit of concern about the tight head, Lorenzo Cittadini.
The tackle was out of the way enough, didn't affect what happened afterwards. Scrum down, knocked on, my ball. Keep the space, get back to the space. That's your man.
I'm told that Joe Launcebrew will be playing next week at Barico with Leinster in town.
Bind! Set!
Little over 15 minutes to go. Once again, the familiar scrum routine as Cittadini pops up and Wasps try to deal with ball that's far from ideal. Guy Thompson's done a very good job working out puzzling situations thus far, and this time it's Smith who gets it away, and now Tangi Thakimbao operated in midfield for much of this match, with Ben Jacobs leaving us prematurely. Cittadini.
Lost!
Just really good. You just can't underestimate how hard Guy Thompson is working at number 8. They've got a scrum which is going backwards, but just his ability just to be able to control that ball, pick the ball up. We've got a guy in the studio in Lawrence Delano who wasn't bad at this either, but he's been outstanding. That's exactly why Wasps were able to exit their half really well.
Etriard finding LaSalle.
Stay out!
Simonko brought to ground by Mile, and brought to ground illegally by Mile.
19! Taken down.
Similar penalty to the one that Toulon gave away. I thought he was from the side and then pulling the ball down illegally. They were already set and Mile just pulled them down. He's just off the bench. He's trying to make an impact. Needs to keep his discipline in this area of the field.
They're going to go for post. There you go.
You just can't do this when you're away from home. Just give away poor penalties, whether you've come off the bench and trying to make an impact or started and you've played 65 minutes into the game. It's a tough place to get anything, and it's easy. Nigel Owen's an outstanding referee. When he's in that close proximity, to be that blatant, that obvious, it's just disappointing. You've worked so hard just to close the gap, to then gift it back or gift an opportunity to Michalak is just poor game management.
The concession of frustrating penalties that in the end unravelled Bath's effort a week ago. And this man made them pay. Here he is again. Oh my goodness. What on earth was that?
Michalak's leg is heavily strapped. I wonder if he's really confident kicking straight back from injury. It was a big thigh injury that took him out of the World Cup. Hasn't played for a long time, and he doesn't look quite fit the way that he's striking the ball.
I think it's one of the reasons why they have a scan at 9, because they were concerned about that injury. Happy to have Michalak back on the pitch, but certainly don't want him doing a pile of kicking at the moment. And you can see why. That's two fairly gruesome misses.
Release now!
Means that Wasps still very much in this. And Michalak goes through, but he was looking for it, according to Nigel Owens, and Piatow can come away. Michalak's back on his feet, but he's looking very ginger, and he's limping. And Gopeth trying to inject some pace into this, just as Sam Jones will. He's been doing that all match. Davis. Frank Halita was to the left. Daly trying to clear out, but Armitage might have got there before him. He's got to release it, and Tilliesboard just confirming to Tuisova that he has to.
If Wasps are able to shift this ball into the outside channel, Michalak is really struggling. He's limping hard. Ashley Johnson's coming on a hard line. They've got to target him. He is a chink in their wall at the minute.
Hit from Bastareaud on Mile. On they go. Bastareaud back on his feet. George Smith. McIntyre waits. Smith holds on. Finds Johnson instead. This has been a ferocious, long-draining, leg-draining contest, particularly at the breakdown from both of them. It's a long way from the prettiest thing in the world, but it's compelling enough. As Knight falls on the med. Simpson. Oh, McIntyre drives it forward. Running straight into Nonu. And now Jones, and they've made it up to the 10-metre line. Gopeth behind Smith, involving Miller. And now Daly. Oh, and now the break down the left-hand side for Halai. There's Vermeulen over the top, and Vermeulen's done brilliantly. And they've even drawn the Wasps penalty. Habana, where's he going? He knew that he had the advantage, but he sent something very special. And then Johnson obliterates him. Brian Habana's just been atomised by Ashley Johnson. And that little moment of atomisation might attract the interest of Nigel Owens. Let's see.
Oh my goodness. All I ask is to see it in full time, because slow-mo always looks terrible. Brilliant tackle.
Yep.
Play on. Absolute play on. Outstanding. Should be rewarded for that.
It's Jonathan Mason, who we can see bottom right. Tag of the match official.
Hey, miss?
Yeah, got it, Nish.
That looks okay to me. There's an attempt to make the tackle. It looks okay.
Yeah, the arm was wrapped round.
The arm was wrapped round?
Yeah, yeah.
So black were in possession when I blew. I'm going to go for a scrum black ball.
Yeah, good.
Gentlemen. After checking, the tackle is legal. You were in possession when I blew. Scrum, advantage is over, black ball.
And in the middle of all that, Freddie Michalak has just had fairly major treatment on his left thigh. So he's got bandages on the right and the left now. And as Wasps head towards the final 10 minutes here at the Stade Felix Mail, they're in the position that Bath were a week ago. They can see the summit. They can sense they're not far away from doing something nobody has ever done here in Europe and plant the flag at the very top. But they will know what a big 10 minutes this is.
Well, Dai Young spoke that they learned some lessons from a couple of years ago. Far too much respect. That's one thing they haven't given them today. Michalak, he's had his left leg strapped up, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. I'll tell you what, Selassie Thackenthackenbow, you're 110 kgs. Run over that guy. Get us on the front foot. They've got the position. They just need to be clinical.
In the front row, Phil Swainston on for Lorenzo Cittadini. That's a better Wasp scrum. Takes away the Toulon back row as Gopeth releases Daly, and now he gets those feet moving, and he continues to move, and he's up to the 22, Daly. And Simpson has quick ball, and it's starting to open up here for Wasps on the left-hand side, driving through, and they've scored! Guy Thompson! And they're not at the top just yet, but for the time being, they're within touching distance. Wasps ahead in Toulon.
You can do where your time is on.
Utter silence here at the Mayo. How about this guy? What a week he's having. Named in the EPS, rugby can be a simple game at times. Simple hands, put your head down, son. Power, handoff, try. They only went through 2 phases. They've struggled, unforced errors. They simplified their game. They got over the gain line through Elliot Daly. Toulon are rocked. And the way you can tell they're rocked is that there's no newspapers in the ground. There's no noise here.
Oh, but on the way to the try line, Guy Thompson has bent his ankle. What a day he has had. No James Haskell, no Nathan Hughes, no bother. Guy Thompson has been an absolute star, and he's just scored one of the biggest tries of the season so far for his team. A significant conversion. No, they will have to satisfy themselves with the 5, but they will satisfy themselves. What a way for Guy Thompson to exit stage right.
Interesting how Michalak strikes this kickoff. I worry for Toulon that they don't actually have a kicker if they do get a penalty. None of this back line, I don't think, will back themselves to drill a high pressure kick.
Bernard Laporte needs to do something, and he's replaced Mathieu Bastereau with Maxime Mermoz. And they brought on Mamuka Gorgodze as well. He was a hero for Georgia in the World Cup. I'm not sure he's a penalty kicker. It's a really interesting point that you make, Nick. Let's see where this final 8 minutes takes us. Armitage with the initial surge. Now Michalak. Sure how much kicking we're going to see from him. This is Vermeulen. And we've talked all match about the character of Toulon that we saw last week against Bath, how they do work so hard for each other, those old-fashioned rugby club characteristics. They need them now with the skipper Suter, Michalak, Nonu. This is not what he turned up for.
He certainly didn't. They have been faltering of the last few weeks. They haven't been flying in the top 14. Bath gave a blueprint of how you could potentially beat them and get close, and Wasps have followed it, and they've exceeded it with 7 minutes to go. Toulon look rocked. They look a bit rudderless. They're going from one side to another. They don't play for penalties, they want tries.
There goes Gorgodze. Here's LaSalle.
Release!
Wasps got to be careful now. They are pressing really hard, but it's the breakdown where they may have come unstuck. They can't give away penalties.
Well, it's a kick that gives away possession from Michalak, but he might think that they will challenge at the line out. So, as it stands, how interesting is this table? Look where Wasps are now, with the game against Leinster at the Ricoh to come next weekend. Toulon, as we've been saying all along, heading to the wreck on the final weekend, but at the moment, Wasps with a 5-point lead. And if it stays this way, that will take them through. Wasps will qualify for the quarterfinals with a round to go. Elliot Daly receiving some treatment. Johnson there making a nuisance of himself, and Nigel Owens will tidy this up and tell us that Toulon will have a scrum from the knock-on.
And it looks like Elliot Daly's actually coming off. For the last few minutes he's been struggling with his hamstring, and Rory Jackson's coming on to replace him. Their backline is a little bit dislocated. It's certainly been disrupted. You can coach these things, you can certainly train for it, but to lose a 13 for a number 10, Halai now comes. So we've got Solossi attacking Dakenbau at 12, and we've got Pietau who's gone to 13. They probably never ever played together, they probably never defended together. They've now got to repel Nonu and Mermoz just 20 metres out. This is a huge and important period of this game.
Time on, keep the space apart. Crouch! Bind! Set!
Xavier Shockey on this near side.
I couldn't see because remember I'd gone behind the number 9, okay? I'd gone behind the number 9, I couldn't see.
Shockey pushing against Simon McIntyre now. Sebastian Tillous-Board with the instructions.
Stay your mark there, stay your mark there. Keep the shoulders apart.
Tillous-Board, one of the many in for extra training on the day off on Tuesday. He was practicing the grubber kicks with new coach Diego Dominguez. And you get the chance to use those honed skills here. Vermeulen needs to control this ball, and Simpson's got in on it, and Wasps might have won this back. Oh, that is brilliant from Joe Simpson.
Unbelievable work. Try saving tackle on Habana in the first half, and with 4 minutes to go, turned over Vermeulen. He is punching way above his weight at the minute. That could be crucial.
Gorgodze, amongst those in red, trying to climb over the top, but Simpson can complete the job by kicking just beyond the 10-metre line. Nick Kennedy.
Huge play from Simpson there. Vermeulen couldn't do what Thompson had been doing all day, dealing with that scrappy ball as your scrum isn't quite steady. Simpson pounces on it. His team will be thanking him after the game. Just eases the pressure off Wasps.
Nick, this line at 3.5 minutes to go. Do you just get every pod up and try and compete, turn that ball over, or are you patient and try and deal with their drive?
I'd say they'll be worried about the drive.
It's taken by Gorgodze, and they're not driving. They're giving it to the backs. They're giving it to the superstars to try and rescue themselves from the darkest of holes. This is Gorgodze, who will blast his way out if he can. Here goes Tuasova, chips through. Who's behind it? Halai was across, but there were Wasps shirts there in enough numbers. Cleared away by Gopeth up to halfway. Michelak won't look to hang around. Here goes Drew Mitchell. They've got a lot of players away on the right-hand side, and Mitchell senses that. Beyond Tangi Thakimbao.
Joe Simpson again. We used to seeing this guy scorch up the pitch, quick taps, tempo, but today's all been about defence. The days of Sean Edwards, Warren Gatlin, they won championships on it, and that is incisive. What's the all at sea? Drew Mitchell sees the space. Lossy steps out of the line, but who tracks works harder than anyone? Joe Simpson on Vermeulen. Outstanding tackle.
If they don't build a monument to Joe Simpson outside the Rico next week, the Coventry Telegraph needs to launch an investigation. There should be editorials every day. Let's listen to this.
When there's a medic seeking a player, you do not get involved at all. Is that clear? That is a safety issue. Stop it now. You would not talk to anybody back there.
Don't think Freddie's going to be great company this evening out to dinner. Harbourside.
Come here. Don't have a word at 20. Have a word with him. If he wants to stay on this field, have a word.
That's Joe Simpson. They're going to need him back up on his feet, that's for sure. He's had some telling impacts the last few minutes. We're hoping he's okay, but I tell you what, being down as well, whether that's a bit of gamesmanship, what it does is take the sting out of the crowd. Toulon are rattled.
Let that be the end of it.
Nigel Owen's just making sure that the opposition respect a player who's down injured, and he made the point to Michelak, and he's re-emphasised that point to Stefan Armitage.
But often when you speak to referees, just because you're rattled, you're frustrated. Toulon aren't used to being in this situation. 2.5 minutes to go and they're losing. That doesn't happen here. But Wasps don't care. Joe Simpson taking his time, and rightly so. The crowd absolutely hate it as we see this again. Brilliant tackle. He just gets his head on the wrong side. And up against Dwayne Vermeulen, almost 20 stone, tackling with your face and your neck. There's only going to be one winner. There was one winner physically, but the ball is in Wasps' arms, and that's where they're going to want it to stay for 2.5 minutes. This could be an incredible result for them. You talk about learning from your defeats. They certainly are at the minute. Bath came close last week.
When you think about no Haskell, no Hughes, no Launchbury, no Wade, to come here and get a result is unbelievable.
No hope, seemingly, before the match, and even the most enthusiastic of Wasps supporters that we were enjoying the company of last night were hard-pressed to see a win here, but they had not accounted for the size of these players' hearts, the depth of their determination. Now, big scrum.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Well, that's brilliantly done by Sam Jones. We've been handing out medals to the Wasps back row. Jones needs to stand in line to collect one as well at the end of this.
Stay on your feet.
2 minutes to go. This will fall onto the head of Tuasova. Oh, it's gone straight out of play. Joe Simpson, who's just got up, back off the turf, a little groggy. The Wicked blotty black mark in a match that he's otherwise been brilliant in.
Rewind the clock last week, Chris Cook almost an intercept. About this stage in the game, Toulon just given that one opportunity. They are clinical.
Wasps not competing, waiting for Suter to come down, and then Mile goes in with the tackle. Toulouse board. Gorgodza for all his worth. Toulouse board, the determination amongst these Toulon players not to be the side that gives up this proud, unbeaten European record here at the Mail. Forget caps, forget money, this is about rugby reputations now, and Toulon are scrapping for theirs. Here goes Saulo on his debut. Toulouse board, Nonu. Toulouse board again, taken on by LaSalle. 30 seconds to go. This is it for Wasps, this is it for Toulon, and Mitchell takes the hit. Habana comes in to help clear it out. Toulouse board once more. What a finish we're going to have here, whatever happens over the next 10 seconds or so. Relief for Toulon or glory, glory for Wasps. Mermoz. Driven on by Saulo. 7 metres short. Toulouse board looks to the left. He's got Tuasova. Mitchell's there in support as well. They go to the right. This is Gorgodza. What are the size of Toulon Hearts? We're about to find out. A drive for the line. This is the moment. Simpson again with the tackle. Etriard. Everybody off their feet in the Mail. Toulouse board to Armitage. Once more Saulo, once more Toulon. Mitchell stretching it. Habana's crying out for it, and Mitchell will score. That is the size of Toulon Hearts. And now the papers are launched in the sky. Desperation for Wasps, but what can you say about this team? These European champions, this Toulon, unbeatable.
Incredible scenes at the Mayo. They certainly have been tested 2 weeks in a row. Absolute heartbreak for Wasps. But how about this for picking a line from Drew Mitchell? Outstanding. Wasps asked the question today to Toulon, bring your game, not your name. And exactly when it mattered, your men that get paid the big bucks, and it's not about that. The Drew Mitchells, the Martinons of this world, found the answer to every question. Incredible.
Look at the Wasps players now, they're absolutely devastated, and rightfully so. They've done enough to win this game. They've worked incredibly hard for 80 minutes. It was just one piece of brilliance from Toulon.
Freddie Michelak with the conversion, and Toulon have won. What a game of rugby here at the Stade Felix Mail. The castle remains impregnable. How close Wasps came, but in the end repelled. Toulon 15, Wasps 11.